But first, I have a question for Anthony Albanese, who's been pleasing terrorists, pleasing dictators, and treating democracies like dirt. Prime Minister, why are you recognising a Palestinian state but not recognising Taiwan? Put it this way, why are you recognising a Palestinian state that is run in one half by Hamas terrorists and in the other by the corrupt Palestinian Authority whose president funds terrorist families, hasn't held an election in 19 years and has said evil Zionists helped Hitler run the Holocaust?
Australia will recognise the state of Palestine.
Why are you refusing to recognise Taiwan as a nation when it's an independent island country that the Chinese Communist dictatorship falsely claims as its own? A nation that has free elections, a free media, and kills no one. Certainly doesn't take hostages. Let me show you the difference. Just last month, Albanese, visiting China, bowing again to its dictator, again told President Xi Jinping, oh, Taiwan. Well, he said privately, don't worry, I'm not going to recognise Taiwan as a nation. But we only found out that it said that when China released its official readout of Albanese's comments.
Albanese reaffirmed Australia's commitment to the One China policy and its opposition to Taiwan independence.
Whoops. Now, Albanese was asked by the reporters travelling with him, wait a minute, what did you say? And he first seemed to pretend he might not have actually said it before backtracking.
Did you specifically use those words that you oppose Taiwanese independence?
Well, you're trying to quote a Chinese readout that I haven't seen. What we do is continue to support a One China policy.
But you know what's really going on? Australia, like so many countries, is terrified of offending the Chinese dictatorship by calling Taiwan a country, which it actually is. I mean, China might bully us if we do that. And it is the most powerful dictatorship in history. So what's Taiwan got to do to get Albanese to recognise it like it's recognising Palestine? Should it also go out now and slaughter 1,200 Israelis and kidnap 151 of them? Because that sure worked for Hamas, as this terrorist group boasted a couple of weeks ago.
قبل 7 أكتوبر هل في دولة تجرأت على أن تعترف بدولة فلسطين؟
By the way, we'll be counting how many Hamas spokesmen praise what Albanese is doing. Now, these double standards I've just pointed out, they simply show that Albanese is weak. He'd rather give in to terrorists and dictators than confront them and defend the democracies that they threaten, whether it's Israel or Taiwan. But let's now get to today's developments, because the Prime Minister was exposed all over again as a hypocrite and exposed yet again by Hamas as a sucker. Yesterday, the Sydney Morning Herald reported that Hamas co-founder Sheikh Hassan Youssef had praised Albanese and told the paper our Prime Minister was indeed doing exactly what Hamas wanted, which Albanese pretended it didn't. We welcome Australia's decision to recognise the state of Palestine. This position reflects political courage. Now, of course, that was grossly embarrassing for Albanese, but today, rescue, he thought. Another Hamas leader said, wait, Sheikh Youssef, that he is actually in an Israeli jail out of communication. You know, couldn't have done this statement. And Albanese grabbed this claim like a drowning man.
Hamas do not want a two-state solution. What they want is one state. And I notice in the statement that's made today, they say that the alleged statement from the person yesterday is someone who's been in prison in Israel since October 2023 and has no means of communication. What that should be is a warning to the media of being very careful about the fact that Hamas will engage in propaganda.
Oh, Prime Minister. Oh, Prime Minister. The Sydney Morning Herald now says he went back to Sheikh Youssef's political office in the West Bank, the office which issues statements on this Hamas co-founder's behalf, And it confirmed that it had released the statement, even though it said, yes, Yusuf was in jail. So, Albanese was praised either directly by the Hamas co-founder from jail, or he was praised by the Hamas staff acting on his behalf. But either way, Hamas praised him. In fact, the ABC today got a third Hamas official, this time its media spokesman, also praising Albanese's move, saying, "We welcome Australia's decision to recognise the state of Palestine and consider it a positive step." And Sky News today got yet another statement from a fourth Hamas official, also praising Albanese's recognition of Palestine, saying any efforts from any party to help the Palestinian party to achieve their national goals of independent state and self-sovereignty are welcomed. But it then added that the core question is how to implement and how to oblige Israel to abide by international law. And this Hamas spokesman said these movements are in need of teeth, otherwise we will continue to stay struggling in the same violent, vicious circle. Which made me think, wait a minute, again, Albanese. He told us that recognising Palestine would lead to peace, not more violent, vicious circle stuff. Would lead to Hamas disarming, not keeping on fighting. But here's Hamas saying, well, actually, Albo, we'll keep fighting until we get more. And they mean much more, because Hamas, of course, the most popular party in Palestine, doesn't actually want peace. It wants Israel destroyed. But I'll finish with one more thing. Albanese's outrageous hypocrisy. His little lecture today. Let's hear it again.
What that should be is a warning to the media of being very careful about the fact that Hamas will engage in propaganda.
Oh, be careful about believing Hamas propaganda, says Anthony Albanese. Says the bloke who swallowed the Hamas propaganda that Israel is starving Palestinians to death, even repeating that 2 days ago, the day that Israel actually let in yet another 320 trucks of aid and nearly 100 food drops by air, things it does now about every day. I mean, it's Albanese, the one who also swallowed the propaganda that Hamas, oh no, says Hamas, we're not actually stealing food to enrich ourselves. He's the one who also swallowed the propaganda that this boy was being starved by Israel, when it turned out he had serious pre-existing conditions, muscle disorders and cerebral palsy and other things. And his brother, meanwhile, was actually plump and healthy. What's starvation? Albanese's Foreign Minister Penny Wong, she's also swallowed Hamas propaganda. Oh, from the start, I mean, like his false claim that Israel blew up the El Ali hospital in Gaza and killed 500 people, those wicked Israelis. She even offered us sympathy the next day to pro-Palestinian extremist Nasser Mashni, when the truth is that the hospital wasn't blown up. Its car park had been hit, and not by an Israeli rocket, but a Palestinian one that had misfired. And the death toll wasn't 500, it was probably under 100, according to American security sources. I mean, what Hamas propaganda hasn't this government believed? And only today, Albanese is saying, oh, don't trust Hamas. Well, not when it says it loves me. Not when it says it backs my plan to recognise Palestine. Oh, don't believe it then. Seriously, Prime Minister, isn't it time to stand for the truth, to stand for democratic allies, and to stop giving comfort to tyrants and terrorists?